Okay, all right. The recording has been started. I'll quickly start sharing my screen now. Uh, okay, so this is the state of our application that we built till the last session that we had on Monday. So what new thing did we add in the last session is this post.js, where we try to add the CRUD operations for the post that can be created, updated, or deleted by user. Uh, yeah, of course, means we were even doing the read operation, so that was done. There was one thing I wanted to mention once again in this session. I think I have already pushed the latest code to the GitHub repository, but still just wanted to mention this once again. I had mentioned it before on the Discourse thread too. I had made a small change for the update functionality to work correctly. What was happening in the last session is that when we were trying to click on the update button, irrespective of which post we were trying to update, it was always updating the first post or the first card that was being shown on the screen or on the browser screen to the user. So in order to correct that, what I have done is I have basically added this uh, basically ID here. So that what I'm doing is I am adding this post.id to every ID that I have been using in this model, so that every model that gets created has a unique ID. Otherwise, previously what was happening is each of these models, uh, whenever the user clicks on update button, we wanted this model to pop up on the user screen, but having the same ID for all the models, it was essentially updating the first one, because when this loop will run, it will create this model only for one time, and for every other model, the same instance is going to be used. But now that we have created separate IDs for each of these models, then the problem won't happen again, and we'll be able to achieve what is the intended functionality. That means if you click on update button, a fresh new model box for that particular instance of card will get opened, and you should be able to update each and every card individually now. There was one more thing that I left as it is, and I hope you guys could uh, okay, I'm not able to find out. All right, yeah. So I wanted to mention that I have been using the same variables, that is title and description, even for the update functionality too. So we created these two variables for adding it to the the model that we are using for adding a new card. But since I'm using the same variable, so whenever you click on the update button, since we are using these two same variables, that is name and description, that we used for addition, the values here in the input boxes for the update card, it will be the same as what you would have done in the previous add operation. So for that, what you could do is you can either remove this value from the input text box, or you could even create two different variables. Because of course, in real world, what you would like to have is you would like to fetch the exact existing details for the instance you are trying to update right now, and that is what you want that to be displayed in front of the user screen. So that, yeah, these two are the things that I just wanted to mention. Apart from that, I guess it was okay. Uh,
So,
yeah,
so in this, what is static backdrop?
this is just the ID that is given to it. This is just the ID here.
Okay.
And I guess static backdrop has some relevance in Bootstrap. So what happens is when a model pops up on the user screen, if you click outside the model, then it basically it doesn't close. I guess this is how the Bootstrap works. But if you don't have this static backdrop here as the ID, then even if you try clicking outside the model box, then the model box will automatically be closed. So since we did not want that to happen, we want only the close button in the model itself to close that particular model, or even refresh screen. So that's why we went with this static vector.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Now I guess we can come back to our app.py files. This is where we are going to integrate what I say our salary. So what what I quickly do is I would get some boilerplate code from the Flask salary documentation that I can quickly add here instead of writing it by myself. Uh, all right, so this is the code that I'll be making use of. What I do is I first copy this one. I already have this Flask. This is already created. So I'll copy this portion of the code and I'll put it uh, in my app.py file here. Just after registering this app object with my DB, I'll have to make some changes here. I'll do that. Firstly, let me just get all the code that I need. And okay, I'll copy this code. And for that, I'll create another file in my project, say, salary worker, and I'll paste this code here. So here, what is being done is we are creating a salary instance, and then we are writing this make salary method here, which is accepting the application instance, and we will be using it so that this gets registered with the Flask instance too. Now, if I go back to my Flask application, I'll have to first replace this Flask app with app. Apart from that, this also has to be updated. Now I'll import this make salary from the salary workers file. So from salary worker, import make salary, and now we are registering it here. Right now, the way this configuration is written is, simply Redis localhost 6379. In case you are using any sort of UI, so you can even try giving separate indexes to these. For example, if I give an index of 1, so basically whatever messages that intent for the broker, they will be stored in this first index database, whereas all the result related things will be stored at the, say, third index database. Right now, I don't have any UI installed in my system, so I would prefer skipping these steps. But in case you are using a UI, then you can provide or any random index to these and see or observe those new key value pairs being created in the UI. That's whatever you are using. Okay. So the template code that I have taken from the documentation, it automatically gives us one task that's created here, that is add together AB. Okay. So let me first see that if we are able to get the salary, instance working here. Right now, we have just integrated salary. We have copy pasted some boilerplate code from the documentation, from the official documentation. Now we'll try to see if the configuration that we have added is correctly done or not. So for that, what will I do is I'll have to install salary as well as Redis in my current working environment. And as you all know, that salary won't work on Windows. I'll require some Linux simulation here. So today I'm going to work with WSL. So I'll just so I'll open a WSL instance. I think we'll be needing multiple terminals in order to work today. So we'll require one terminal for running the Flask application. One will be required for running the Redis server. Other one will be required for running the salary instance. And I guess we'll need one more if we get started with the salary piece or the background jobs or scheduled jobs. Let me try opening 3 first. And after that, we'll see. So I'll have to navigate to the place where my project is currently located.
Sir, why we are doing this backward slash or front slash?
Sorry, I did not get it.
That
Okay, sorry.
backslash or front slash that we are
Yeah, because right
changing.
now we are working on a Linux environment. For Linux environment, we'll have to go this way. This is how you basically refer to a file structure in Linux system.
Okay, sir.
There's one more thing to note here. We are using this MNT here. So whenever you use WSL, so the local drive of your system is mounted by having this MNT as the prefix. So whenever you are navigating to some place from the root directory, make sure that you are using this MNT. So currently I have navigated to the current project location. What will I do is I'll open two more terminals. All right. Now what I'm going to do here is I'll close the remaining two terminals as of now. So the very first thing that I require here is to create an environment so that I can install all the dependencies that will be required. So the first thing I'll do here is to create a Python virtual environment. So for that, I'll use VNV, or since I'm using Linux this time, so I guess I can use this another package. Not sure. So it has created this here. Now I would activate this. Okay, then. So what all packages do we require here? We need Flask, we need Flask SQL Alchemy, we need Celery, and anything else? Okay, we need Redis. I think we'll begin with these four. We'll see if we need more packages later on. Flask SQL Alchemy, and the other one we'll use is Redis. So it will take some time to install all these dependencies here. And since it's WSL, I guess it will take a little bit of more time as compared to the Windows operating system. Let us just leave it as of now, and we'll see if there is something else that we need to add here. So right now you see that we have this task added here, and whenever I try to activate my Celery instance, I should see that the instance should automatically detect this task created here, that is add together. So we'll try to see if we are able to activate the current instance of the Celery worker. Okay. As it does. Okay, Flask will come in, Celery, Redis. I guess all of these things are installed. Okay, we'll have to wait for some more time.
So meanwhile, can I just ask a quick question?
Yeah.
Yeah. So just a general, because I haven't watched all the lectures yet. So we have, apart from the regular functionality we need to implement for the project, we have caching, we have these background jobs, and we also have some notifications, right? So which one do we use Celery Redis for? Is it only for the background jobs, or is it also for caching?
No, for caching, you won't require Celery, but you will require Redis as the queue to store your cached messages or to store your cached responses.
Okay, so we use Redis for that, is it?
Okay. Only Redis, yes. Celery is not required for that purpose.
Okay, and for notifications, it is webhooks, right? Some webhooks that we go to. Notification as in the messages.
What type of notifications you are referring to?
Like the messages we have to send it by email or SMS or something like that.
Yeah, for that you'll require both Celery and Redis. Yeah, if you are using Celery, then Redis is being used as the message broker there. Yes, so you require Celery for that purpose. If you require those jobs to be asynchronous.
Right. Okay.
It is still not there.
Sir, every time we are doing environment, we require to install all this, right? Flask
See,
and
you just need to create this environment for once. Okay, this is there. Yeah, so whenever you will start your project, you will create this environment once. Later on, you will just keep on adding the dependencies that you will require for your project. Okay, now that the environment is activated, we have also installed all the dependencies. What would I do is I would start Python app first. Okay, it is Python app.py. Let me see if I'm able to access this. Fine. I guess it is working fine as expected. So, okay, it is also showing these things. Just give me a minute, please. I'm getting a call. Just a yeah, sorry for the delay. Is the screen getting frozen? Is the screen getting frozen? Is it?
No, sir. I think it's okay.
Okay, all right, fine. So where were we? We have started this Flask application. We are able to see all these things here as we will be trying to log them on the console to see what is being fetched from the database. The next thing let's do is let's start the Redis server. So the Redis server is up as well. We'll use the third terminal in order to start the Celery instance. So for starting the Celery instance, I'll have to see app.celery. So I'll say celery -a app.celery worker. Is there anything else we require? We can even provide the log level. I think that is okay. So it is saying no module name class SQL coming. We'll have to activate the instance here as well. Okay, fine. So we see this salary instance is now up as well, and we are able to see the system has already detected one task here in the system, that is app.addTogether. Right now, we are not doing anything from the application. So what I would like to quickly do here is, let's say I'll open another terminal, or I can even open the command prompt as well, but let me show everything on Ubuntu this time. Go there. I'll start the instance. I'll activate the Python virtual environment. Now, what I can do is I can simply try sending these tasks, or I can try dispatching tasks to my salary system and see if it is, executing those tasks. So what I can do is I can open a Python terminal. I'll keep these two terminals side by side. All right, this is the terminal where I'll be, dispatching the task to the salary, and here I should be able to see what all tasks are coming and how are they getting executed. Right now, I am into my Python terminal. So what I would do is, I would say from app import star, so that I get everything from the app.py file. All right, and you see that I am having a salary task that is created here, that is add together. So what will I do is, I'll just try to invoke this function, that is add together, and I'll provide some arguments, say 4 and 7, and let's see what will happen. The moment I try to execute this function, I get the output 11. But you see that I'm not getting anything in the salary terminal here. Can someone answer why? Does anyone know why is it happening so?
Salary not required, no, sir. Only it's
Salary not required. I did not get it.
You have to delay, you have to call the long running method or something.
Exactly. So right now what I'm doing is this add together, I'm simply calling it as a Python function. So we know that it is a salary task, but even before than that, it is a Python function. So that means we can use this add together always as a Python function. We can invoke it at whatever place we want. If we want this to be executed asynchronously, then we will have to make use of salary methods that the framework provides. So for that, we have apply async, we have delay. So right now, what I would do is I would use delay here. Okay. So let's say I'll try to assign the value in a variable, say a equals to add together 4,7. The moment I do this, oh sorry, I again did the wrong thing. I will have to say add together dot delay, and then I'll have to provide the arguments, say 4 and 7. The moment I do this, you can see that it says that I'm talking about the salary terminal here. You see that it says task app.add together, it received, and immediately after that, it says that this has been executed and the result given is 11. And this is the time that it took in order to complete this job. And now if I try to print A here, then what will I get is I'll get the async result object, and this is going to be the ID that this task has. If I want to get this ID, I can simply say a.id. So this is going to give me the ID, or I guess a.task ID also works. Sure. Yes, a.task ID also works. So currently this A is an object that is referring to the task that we just dispatched a few seconds ago that has completed its execution. So this object, comes with a lot of properties that we can access in order to find out the current state of the task if it is still executing. I guess there is something called state as well. Yes, you can see that current state is success because it has already finished its execution. and a.result should be able to give us what it has yielded as the output. So yeah, we are able to get this, and similarly we can get it using the get method as well. That is going to be a.get. There is something called wait as well. Is there anything else that we can use? Okay, there is something named as ready, which is going to tell us whether the task has been completed its execution or not. It gives us the value in the form of a boolean, either true or false. So since the task has completed its execution, it is giving us true. So these are a whole lot of properties that one can make use of while uh, dispatching tasks to the Celery system. So what we did was we simply dispatched one job to the Celery system, and we stored the object into this variable called a. And with the help of a, we are able to access all these properties. ID, which is going to give us the task ID. The task ID does the same. A.state is going to tell us what the current state of this particular task is. Right now, we saw it to be success, but if this was still running, then we would have seen it would have said pending. Similarly, a.result and a.get and a.wait, all of these three methods are going to get us the results if ready. And a.ready is going to tell us if the task has finished the execution, and it always yields a Boolean value, either true or false. All right. Now, what we would do here is we would try to create some task that we are going to trigger by clicking something on the front end. So what I can do here is, let's say I keep this task only that will be triggered each time whenever the user clicks on a button, just to show that we can even integrate it with the UI. So I'll go to post.js again, and I was having one add button here somewhere. Yeah, I guess here. So what I would do here is I would create another button, and whenever the user clicks on this button, I want a Celery job to be triggered. Of course, the job is not going to do anything. It is the same job that we'll be triggering, but we'll just see how do we make that happen if we want to integrate it with some UI effect. Okay, I mean with some UI action. So, I would say here trigger a Celery job, and I hope I should get it on the UI. Yeah, I'm getting it here. What should happen when the user clicks on this is, I would say, trigger Celery job. I'm just giving this function name here that I'll be implementing. So it is trigger. I'll copy this so that I don't make a typo. So this is add block, this is update block, this is delete block. Similarly, I'm having one more method here that says trigger Celery job. And what I'm going to do here is I'll make a request to some endpoint here in the backend that is going to just trigger this task in the background. That's it. I'm not going to do anything fancy as of now. So what I do is I create an endpoint here, say app.route trigger Celery job. And what this is going to do is this is simply going to say add together dot delay, say 4 and 9. And this is going to return this async result object here. What can it return in place is I can return a whole lot of properties. So the first thing I want to return is the ID or task ID.
So, like when we have to make the task asynchronous, we just have to write the word delay, right?
Yeah, correct. This is how you invoke the Celery jobs. Otherwise, it will be invoked as a simple Python function.
Okay, sir.
So yeah, if you want to return task ID, I can say a.id. I also want to return what is the state of the task. That is going to be a.state and the result. Task result. And I would say a.result. But right now we'll see that this task is going to complete its execution in no time. So what I would do instead here is I would add some intended delay so that we can see some delay in the tasks getting received in the Salary system and then getting processed. So what I would say here is I would say time dot sleep, maybe a delay of 5 seconds. Import time here. Fine. I have created this method here. So the task state, I hope it is going to give us pending. Anything else that we can do here? Okay, let us see. So I'll go to post.js again, and I am going to make a fetch call. The fetch call is going to be redirected to an endpoint that says trigger salary job. I hope, yeah, trigger salary job. This is going to return us JSON. This is going to return us the response object, and we are going to get the JSON content from that response object. It is again going to return a promise, and now we'll get the actual data. So I'll not do anything. I'll just print it on the console. That's it. So I'll say salary task details, and I'll just say D. And D is going to return what? D is going to return an object having 3 properties: task ID, state, and result. Let us see. Post. Done. So the Flask application has been reloaded. And what is this? Okay, I'll do one thing. I'll exit from here. I don't need it anymore. So fine, I'll leave it. Okay, let me refresh this page. And now if I click on this button, I should see one job, being dispatched to the salary system. So I have clicked on it once. Let me see if the salary system has been something. Yes, it has. And what is it saying is received unregistered task of type main, add together. Okay, this is probably due to where I'm creating the instance, I'm creating it here. So maybe instead of saying app.import name, I can directly mention it to be app. I'll reboot this. Yes, this task can still be detected here. If I go there, refresh it, click on this. So you see that it has received this task, and after 5 seconds, you can see the time it took in order to complete the execution, 5.01 seconds, and the answer that it gave was 13. If I go back to my console and see if I have gotten something there, so you can see that salary task details, has resulted an object. And what all things it is giving us? It is giving us task ID, which is this. Task result is currently null because the task was still in the execution phase when the response was returned, and the task state, it shows it to be pending. Okay, all right. So this is how we are able to trigger an asynchronous job from a UI. Now, what I would quickly want to do is, I was even getting a lot of emails in the previous week. I have not gotten any such email in this week, or I guess in the last 3 or 4 days. But sometime before than that, I was getting some queries from people that they are having difficulties in order to create the CSV file at the backend and then sending it to the front end. So this is how they're facing the difficulty with. So what I would quickly do here is I would write a salary task that is going to generate a CSV file, and I will be triggering that salary job by some button that is present on the UI. And once the job is completed, the file should be downloaded to the user's machine. This is what my entire objective of this today's session is going to be. So for that, what I would do is I would say salary dot task. Okay, before I get started with this new activity, let me know if any one of you is having any questions. This is going to be the last part of the today's session, where I'll just show you how do you generate a CSV file as a backend job using salary, and how do you return the file that is being generated to the front end. Does anybody has any questions?
And about reports, sir, a report is the same thing that CSV file, that is the report.
No, report is different. Report is that you either have to send it as an HTML or as a PDF, and that has to be sent via email. For now, what I'm doing is I am trying to download the generated file in the user's machine. I'm not triggering any emails as of now. Or the emails are also, I guess, is a trivial thing. I hope you must have gotten the screencast code base for the project screencast, and that screencast code would, I guess, give you enough idea how do you trigger emails. For that purpose, the screencast is making use of, I guess, a client named Mailhawk. You can also go with that Mailhawk client for the demonstration purpose. Otherwise, for real life scenario, you can even go with any other transactional provider, any third party. All right. Any other questions so far? I guess Sherry.
Sir, I have made the CSV file, and I don't give it to the app. Through the app, I don't give it to the client. I give it to the client through email, Mailhog
Fine.
email. Is it okay?
Yeah, it is okay.
Yeah, okay, sir.
Anything else?
Sir, how do we schedule it? The task has to run on a
Yeah,
fixed
sure.
frequency.
Once I complete this thing, I'll probably show you the scheduled task as well.
Okay, okay.
What shall I do first? Shall I do that CSV thing first, or the scheduled job first?
No, CSV thing first.
Okay, fine.
And sir, this recording is available in YouTube.
I'll share it afterwards
Okay.
once
Okay.
the session gets over.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, let me come back to the backend here. So right now I don't have any, data that I'll be generating my CSV file with. So what will I do is I'll just put some random data in my CSV file, and that is how I'm going to deal with it. I'll just provide some delay so that it takes some time, right, in order to generate that file. Okay. So define generate CSV. I'll import the CSV module here. Okay, I'll need to get some, sample CSV module code so that I can create a file, write some random data to it, and can return it. Can I get it? Or let me see if I can write it. Static data.csv. I hope I don't have anything in the. Okay, I have data.json. That is still okay. That is going to be w as f. There is something that we can make use of here. I don't exactly remember. I guess CSV writer. Okay, maybe I'll have to get some sample code. Let me get it quickly. Python CSV module. This is in reading mode. this seems to be in the writing mode. So I'll just copy this. This import CSV, okay, this has to come here. So we're importing CSV here. Fields are these, rows are these, file name is this. That is okay too. Or I can directly mention here static data dot CSV, and I can remove this file name. And CSV dot writer, provide the object CSV dot writer, write row fields, what is there in the fields, a name, branch, year, CCPA, and some rows. Fine, that is okay. And I think that is okay. And what this salary task is going to return is, say this is going to return a simple message saying job started. That's it. Okay, so now whenever we trigger this task, what it is going to do is it is going to create this file, and I have not added any delay. I'll just add some delay. So what will I do is I'll make use of set timeout function in the front end. After dispatching this job, I'll say wait for 3 or 4 more seconds before I start a fetch call, and with the help of that fetch call, I'll try to get this CSV file. I don't think I will even need my fetch call, but yeah, I'll probably try to show it to you. So what happens is whenever we trigger a job and we are not sure of how long the job is going to take in order to complete its execution. So there is something that we use in Celery that is going to return us the current state of the of the current Celery job that we are tracking for. So for that, I guess we require some kind of ID to be provided to that. I'm not sure. I'll have to check for that. I guess we call it async result or something. Async result. Yeah. So for example, what it does is it takes the ID and is okay. It's fine. I'm making use of. Okay, I guess it returns as the object, if I'm not wrong. Let me even check it. It's the task ID, your task ID. Yeah, it basically returns as the object. So what I'll do is I'll make use of the similar thing. So I know that I'm not sure how long the CSV generation is going to take. So I would implement short polling here. That means I'll be making a call to my, to some endpoint in the Flask application that is going to get me the current status. Whenever I see that the current status is it has changed to success, then I'll write some code in order to get the CSV file. So for that, I'll just put these imports. So I'll say from salary.result import async result. And I'm going to copy this. For that, I'll require an endpoint to be created that is going to return me all these things. So I'll create another endpoint here. Say app.salary. Maybe what I can do is I can simply say status, and it is going to take some ID, right? Check status, and it is going to get an ID in the parameter. So what will I do is I'll say async result your task ID. Instead of this, I'll provide ID here. This is going to return me the object, and I'll say just return what the current state of the object is. So for that, let me return the same thing. I'll return this. Where this is going to be this, and this is going to be RES2. Fine. So I have created this endpoint specially for checking the state of my salary jobs. So whenever I'm not sure about the time a given salary job is going to take, so I am always going to do short polling. I'm talking about my case. Of course, you can think of other mechanisms. You can even add some appropriate delay, post which you are sure that the job is going to complete its execution for sure, and then you can even make the API calls. But right now, I'm trying to do the short polling.
So what does app.celery do?
Sorry?
What does app.celery do?
Oh, sorry. It should be app.route, app.celery.
Oh, okay.
This is simple Flask endpoint. Yeah, thanks for noting it.
Okay,
sure. Fine. So now what would I do is I have written that job somewhere. Yeah, here it is. Import CSV. So I would add a delay here, say time.sleep, say delay of 5 seconds. This is what I'm doing here. Or say even 6 seconds. All right. Nice. So after 6 seconds, this is going to execute the rest of the code here. And we see that we are saving the file in a static folder with the name data.csv file. So this is what our target location is going to be, where we have to get this file from. Right? Okay. And in case it is needed, then you can also, okay, I guess that is something we can discuss sometime later. So that should be okay. No problem. So I'll come back to my front end here. So I already have that button that is going to say trigger salary job. I'll just make the changes in that given method definition itself instead of writing a new one. So I have this fetch here, trigger salary job, but this is not what I want to trigger salary job. Did I create such endpoint before? Yes, I did. So now I'll change it, and I'll change the definition to generate CSV dot delay. It's dot delay, and this will just delay here. This will send us the result, and yeah, we are going to get the rest of the things from here, and then we will be making these calls. Okay, let's come back here. So we are going to make the call to the same endpoint. Once we get the data, what we are doing is we are showing it on the console. Let me just improve it a little bit. Even 10 so that it looks good here. Yeah, so we are showing the salary task details on the console so that user can read what is the current status. Now we see that we have received these details, and we know that the job is going to take some time in order to get processed. So what I will do here is I'm going to make use of short polling. So for short polling, what I would do is I would create an interval here. So I'm creating an interval, set interval. And in this set interval, what I'm going to do is I am going to write a fetch call. I am going to write a fetch call, and let's say I want this interval, or I want this interval to be repeated again and again after every what is the time interval we have given for the sleep? We have given it 6. So let me give it 4 or 5. Let me make it 4. So I'll give it 4,000. So that means what is going to happen is after every 4 seconds, this is going to do whatever I'm going to write here. And what I'm writing here is I am saying that after every 4 seconds, you should be, sending a request to this endpoint, that is status slash, and we have to provide the ID. So how do we get the ID? So you see that in this D here, the object that we are getting as the response, this object has 3 things. It is giving us the task ID, it is giving us the task state, and it is giving us the task result. So what we are interested in getting here is the task ID. So I would like to get the task ID from here. So instead of writing it in double quotes, I would create it a JavaScript template string. And I would say D dot okay, so this is going to be a JavaScript object. So in order to just make it a little bit simple, so I would make it task ID like this. A dot task ID. I hope I'm not making any typo. Yeah, seems to be fine. Okay, after making this fetch API call, I would do the same thing. I will have to resolve the response object. And once this is done, I will have to check that what I am getting in the response. So you see that the response or the output or the basically the response of this endpoint, that is status, it is going to be this, task ID, task state, or task result. So here also I would change everything to yeah. So this is the object that we'll get as the response for that fetch API call that we are making. And in the object, we are going to get 3 things: task ID, task state, and the task result. So here I would like to check if D dot I guess task state or something. Yeah, it is task dot state. If it is equals to what? If it is equal to success. I hope this is how we were getting it. I'll check in the console as well, but it was. So it is showing pending. Okay, we have already lost the track of that, but I guess, yeah, it is going to be success in that case. And if this thing happens, then what should we do? Can someone tell me what should we do? If the task state is the success, that means we know the job has completed its execution. That means the CSV file is now generated. What shall we do here?
You have to get the file, or
we have to get the file, but for that I would skip that code. It is not going to take a long time for us to write the code. That is going to be a simple thing. I would just say that task has finished the execution. That's it. Okay. And if it is not success, then I would also print something in the else. Say console.log task is still being executed. Right. So this may be a little bit different.
I want to know about that triple equal to. 3 times we.
This is strict equality operator. That means it is going to check for the type as well as for the value. It's okay. I can even make it double equals to. Doesn't matter as of now for this piece. This is going to check for both the type as well as the value. If you use double equals to, then it won't be a strict comparison. Even if the data types of 2 values are different, it will still say that both values are same. Let's say for integer number 9 and for a string 9, it is going to return as true. Whereas the triple equals to is going to return false for that comparison. Yeah. Okay. So there is one more thing that we have to do here is we are forgetting that we have put this thing in the set interval. So set interval is what? It is going to keep repeating everything, whatever we have provided in this function after every 4000 milliseconds or 4 seconds. We'll have to stop this interval at some point of time whenever we see, okay, that something has been completed. So as soon as this, the state of the task has been changed to success, then I would say clear interval, and I would provide this interval ID. I guess it is interval. So this is the point where I would stop. Fine. If we don't stop it, then it is going to send this request each time. or after every 4 seconds. So that is not something we want to happen. Okay, let me see if this set time interval. So what it is doing here is it is making a fetch call to this status. We are providing the task ID, and then we are checking if the result comes. If it tells us that the task has completed its execution, then we'll say task has finished execution. We'll clear the interval. Else, we'll say task is still being executed. Fine. Okay. So trigger salary job. Once again, I'll check for it. And yeah, okay, fine. I hope the salary. Okay. Task has no object salary. Okay, the Flask app is up. I hope the rest of the things are up too as well. So everything is okay. Now I'll go there. Right now you don't see anything in the static folder as well with name. What was the name? Data.csv if I'm not wrong. Yes, data.csv. There is no such file as of now present in the static folder. Now I'll refresh this and I'll click on this trigger a salary job. As soon as I click on it, let me see if there is okay, something is went wrong. What happened? Not generate CSV. App.generate CSV. So looks like it is not detecting it. So let me refresh it once again. It will take a few seconds to reboot. And now we see, yes, this task is here. I'll again refresh. I'll click on this again. I'll come back to my terminal. I'll see that it has received this task. Okay, it has also said job started. That means finally it has executed. And if I come to inspect, I'll say console. Okay, it is giving us a lot of errors here. Let me see what that is. So we are getting this in the pending state, but for the next time, status. Let me see. Post.js. So the status is here. It's sending a request. It must be getting received here. Okay, so this time interval is okay, something. Let me just refresh this. Okay, so somehow it is not sending a request to this endpoint, that is status ID. So status.
The slashes are different, I think. Can you just go back to the post.js?
Post.js, yeah.
Okay. No, I just thought slashes.
Okay, let me do one thing. Oh, this is up. This is up. I'll trigger the job again. That is going to be to console. I'll get this ID. I'll say status and this. Let's see what it's going to return. Okay. So what does it say? Disabled backend object has no attribute. Okay, so it is saying the state is something it cannot tell us. Just give me a minute. Let me check for it. Hmm. Okay, I'm not currently sure whether it is a version issue or something. It should be working. Okay, it is giving this get task metaphor. Should not happen. Okay, I'll probably try this something later. So right now, what I would do is I would send a request after knowing that the task has completed its execution. So what I'm doing is I'm replacing this set interval with the set time move function so that I can give a definite delay of say some 7 seconds before the task can get triggered. So I'm just changing this 4,000 to 6,000 here.
So your screen is not shared.
Oh, okay. It's like I have stopped sharing my screen. I'll share it once again. Yeah, I hope it is now visible. So what I'm doing is I'm just
Yes.
changing it to set timeout. Right. So inside this set timeout, I'm making this fetch call. I don't need this. I can simply make a simple fetch call that is going to return. Okay. I have a lot of these things here. So I don't know which all have to be removed. I guess that is okay. Yeah. So I don't think we really need to, send the request to this status as of now. I don't know why it is not working. So I would rather send a request to get this endpoint or to simply get this file. Okay, all right. So now that we are assuming that since we are sending the request after waiting for 6 seconds, we'll assume that the file already exists. So if we need to, get the file from the backend, how do you think? How can we get that file here? Any ideas? How can we get the file? We have to write some code here. At this place. So this is the code block that will get triggered after waiting for 6,000 milliseconds or 6 seconds. Any ideas? Let me see if there is something in data.csv. Yes, there is. Okay, so for that, I'm not going to write anything fancy, especially in case of Python. What I'll do is I'll do everything with the help of JavaScript. The design that I have for this application is quite simple. I know that my file is stored at location static, and by default, everything inside the static folder in a Flask application is publicly accessible. Fine. So what I'm going to do here is I am simply going to say I'm going to make use of window object. That means I want to do something with the current window that the user is working with, and I am just going to change the source of the current window. So what I'll say is I'll say window.location.href equals to what? I'll have to redirect it to some endpoint that is going to give me this file. So if I want to get this file, what I would do is I would say slash okay. So in order to make it a little bit of more interesting, what I would do is I would write a Python backend endpoint that is going to return me this particular file. Because if I directly try to do so, window.location.href, then I guess it is just going to redirect the current user to that particular screen. Let me show you as well. So if I say static slash data.csv, that is what I'm doing here. I'll come back here. I'll refresh the screen. Now I have this button here. So if I click on this button, I have clicked on it. So what it does is, okay, it automatically downloads this file to my system. But why did it do it so fast? Because it came here. Looks like there is some problem here. Let me see. So this block is for this has to be closed here, and this has to be closed here. So this is 10. Refresh this. I'll click on this. So it is downloading this file automatically. Okay, I have not saved it. Postjs 180. So we have an error that must be from here. So fetch, this is there. This is another bracket here. This is getting closed here. This is for this 10. Okay, so we must have one more thing here. I guess that should be fine. But So if I click on it, we just get these details that are being fetched from the backend, which is going to say what is the current state. And yeah, this is what is happening right now. What will I do is I'll delete all the files that I have currently downloaded. So I'll download these 2 files. As you have already seen that window.location.href is also working if I directly provide /static and /file name. So since /static is a special endpoint in a Flask application, it is going to get you whatever is publicly available or is present in the static folder, and it is going to automatically download the file to the user's machine too. But if you want to integrate this in your application, then you will probably need a Flask backend as well, which is going to because right now I know that the file name is going to be it is going to be data.csv. But in your case, you may not know what the file name is always going to be. So for that, you will have to send a request to the Flask backend endpoint that is going to get you the result. So I can even show you that too. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to create another endpoint, say app.route, and this is going to be download file. That's it. And what does this download file button method does is it makes use of send file method that Flask provides. So I'm just going to import send file. You can also make use of send from directory. Both are okay. Send from directory just is a little bit of safe method, but right now since we are not having any threats or something, so I would just say use send file. And here what I'm going to say is I'll say return send file, and I'm going to provide the path. So the path is going to be static / data.json. So there is one thing to note here is I'm not providing any leading forward slash here. But if I was doing it using JavaScript, I was providing a leading slash, because that time I was making use of the static endpoint that the Flask application provides. And this time I'm not using the static endpoint. Instead, I am using the file structure. So I see this app.py file is present in this folder named project setup, and I want to navigate to static folder / I want to get the file named data.json. So I have to provide the path here instead of providing the endpoint. When I was doing it using JavaScript in the front end, I have to provide the exact endpoint that is going to get me that file. Now, what will I do from the front end here is I am simply going to send a request to this.
So data.csv, I guess.
Data.csv. Sorry. Data.json.
Sir, what is the difference between send from directory and send file?
Yeah, as I was telling you before, send from directory, I guess it does some pre-processing so that whatever path that the user provides, it simply does not return you the same. For example, if you are having some secrets stored at the server and user somehow gets access or gets to know about the secret file that you have, so user will simply provide you with whatever input that he or she wants to access. Let's say the secret file is stored at abc/abc/abc and then secret.csv or something.
Okay.
And the user enters the exact same path. And what you are doing is you are making use of send file method, and whatever user provides as the input, you are passing it to the send file.
Okay.
So send file method is going to return you the exact thing, or it is going to return that file as it is to the requesting user. Whereas send from directory is going to work on that file name, and it basically doesn't allow the operation if it finds it I would say a little bit threatful. Just like we have secure file name for saving a file using Flask. Similarly, we have this send from directory. But send from directory implicitly makes use of send file. So send file is implicitly invoked by send from directory. So in our case, it is not going to matter much.
Okay.
Yeah. So I have created this endpoint here, and what I'm doing is I'm simply sending this file. So if I go to post.js, here I could also say window.location.href, and this time I'm going to send a request to download file endpoint, which I have implemented in the backend, that is here. it is up, and I'll refresh this. It is reloaded as well. I'll close this download thing, and the moment I'll click on this, window.location.href is not a function. Let me see what is happening. Oh, sorry, it is not a function. So we'll have to assign it a value. So I'll click on it once again, and you see that it has downloaded this file, data1. So I'll probably have this data.csv already in my downloads folder. So that's why it is downloading this. So currently, or ideally, this has to be done using the previous approach that we were applying. I don't know why that async result is not working right now. It may be a version issue. I'll try to check it afterwards. Then I'll get back to you. But yeah, that is the ideal approach one should be following. Right now, what I'm doing is I am simply making the request, but even a workaround of the approach that we were using before is we use some definite time interval value that we are sure about that the job is not going to take more than this much of time in order to complete. So we know that the job was taking exactly some 5 seconds and some few milliseconds in order to complete its execution. So we can provide an interval of say 6 seconds in the set timeout so that we can be sure that after waiting for this much of time, we can get the required output from the respective endpoint. So that is one approach to do it as well. Right now, we were doing it straightforwardly because we know that what this endpoint is going to return and the file is already available. So yeah, this is how you basically download the files from the backend, or you send files from the backend to the front end so that users can download it. There was one other approach that one was saying that as soon as the job gets completed, you are sending that CSV file to the user's email address. That is fine too. That can be done as well. Now, I would like to quickly go over the background jobs that the salary system can have. So for that also, I would like to get some template code from the salary documentation. So I guess salary schedule jobs. Okay, so I'll just copy this.
Sir, I have a question.
Sorry.
In this case, are you assuming that the front end and back end is in the same system? Because I have implemented it separately, so I don't have the option of window dot location, that option at all, because both are separate instances. Back end is completely different. The front end cannot access anything from the back end programmatically, basically, apart from using APIs.
Can you please come again? I was not able to get it completely.
Okay, you have used that window.location.href to download the file. So,
yeah, correct.
So that is on the front end where we write that code. But in my case, my front end and back end are completely different things, where the front end does not have access to anything in the back end. So there is no way in fact, it is in a different IP address and port that way. So the backend and front end interact only through APIs. In that case, that option will not work, right?
Yeah, in that case, the option won't work. Yes, correct.
So in that case, what should I do? Sending it asynchronously after it is finished that way.
Okay, so in that case, what you can do is you can get the file as it is.
Okay.
I guess you will have to get it in the octet stream, the way it is transferred over network.
Okay.
And what you can do is you can write some JavaScript code. What it is going to do is it is going to implicitly create an anchor link.
Okay.
An anchor link, and the href value to that anchor link is going to be download this file. So since you have already gotten that file, what you will do is you will add the href value in that way, so that whenever a user clicks on that href or on that anchor link, the file that you have just gotten from the fetch API call gets downloaded to the user's machine, whoever is clicking on that anchor link.
Okay.
And then you programmatically click on that anchor link, and then you programmatically remove it. So that user does not get to know that there was some anchor link that was created.
Okay.
All that is done using JavaScript. You create it using JavaScript. You click on it using JavaScript. You delete it using JavaScript. So
Okay.
user does not even know.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So now what will I do is I'll add this code. I have just copied it from the from the Celery documentation. I'll remove 2 of its tasks. I'll just make use of one. I'll also have to get some inputs, I guess. Yeah. That is done too. I'll have to replace this app with Celery. Set up periodic task, etc., etc. So we are adding one periodic task. So this is something that will be okay. The comment also says the same, that this is something that will be triggered after every 10 seconds. So here we have to provide the name. So let's say the name of the task is going to be, let me just provide this name, that is add together. And the arguments that I'm going to provide, say 9,6. I'm just providing some random arguments. Of course, I'm just showing you that how do you configure these scheduled jobs. Of course, your use case is going to be much different from what we are using here. And
What is the dot S there?
So this is something that you need to do in order to configure the scheduled job. So this as some kind of callback.
Okay. So this is different from dot delay.
Yes, this is different. For configuring the scheduled jobs, you will always have to do .s because we are making use of cron tab here.
Okay.
If we want to schedule any background jobs that should be triggered automatically without any user intervention, we will need to make use of some kind of cron tab. So Celery has its own cron tab that we are making use of, and I guess this is something synthetical related to it.
So this dot option S and dot delay option is provided to this add together function by that declarator. Celery dot task.
Correct. Yes.
Okay.
Okay. I guess we have done this thing too. So let me start the Flask application once again. However, we don't need Flask anymore because we are just going to see how the Celery is going to work. What will I do is I'll start Celery once again because we have, okay, I guess it was not needed, but anyway. But since we have, configured a few scheduled jobs, we will have to, install one more thing, or we'll have to start one more service that is going to be Celery Peak. So that, just give me a minute. Sorry for the delay once again. So I was doing. Okay, I guess I was starting the Celery Beat service. So yeah, currently what Celery is going to do is Celery is going to, receive any jobs that the broker is providing to it, and it is going to execute those. But now, since we have some background jobs and we don't want those background jobs to be triggered automatically without any user's intervention. So in that case, we need to have some service that is going to keep looking for whether there is some task to be executed. And that service, in our case, is going to be Celery Beat. So what we'll do is we'll start this service, and this service is going to check for the pending tasks, if any, after every time interval that we can of course configure. And whenever it finds any pending job, uh, whenever it checks for, then it is going to dispatch that Celery job to the Celery system, and the Celery system is going to receive it, execute it, and give the result. So cell repeat is a service that is just going to keep looking for the pending tasks that the system may have. So in order to start the cell repeat, I guess the syntax is going to be very much same as we used for starting the Cellry instance. It is Cellry a main dot. Sorry, it's not main dot. It's app.cellry. App is the name of the file. Cellry is the name of the instance. Then we'll have to say beat. That is what we want to start. Then we will have to configure the max interval value. That is the required argument that you need to provide. So here you tell the system that after how many seconds the Cellry beat should be looking for the pending jobs. So by default, I'm going to provide say 2. That means after every 2 seconds, it is going to look for any pending jobs if the system has any. Apart from that, we can again provide the log level, that is info as of now. I hope this should work. A app.cellry beat max interval. Okay, let us see. Yeah, so it says it is starting. Yeah, so you see that it has sent the first task, that is add every 10. This is the description for the task that we have here, that is here provided as the name argument. And if I go back to my Cellry system, okay, I have already closed it. So whenever I'll start it, whatever pending jobs will be there, it will quickly receive those and execute those. Let me see if Cellry beat has sent something else. So it has sent this task thrice. And you see that it has received this task 4 times. That means Cellry beat has sent it once again. It has executed 4 of them. Now, after waiting for 10 more seconds, it will get 1 more and it will execute that and give us the result back. So it received this and it sent it back. So this is how you can even configure the scheduled jobs. I'll just put them side by side. So that is this. Right? All right, so it produced this result here. It sent 1 more task, it received this. After waiting for 5 seconds, it is going to yield the result as well. So I hope you get the point. How do you configure the Cellry jobs? The background jobs, particularly, what you have to do is you will have to add these arguments as many as times depending on the number of background jobs that you require. Right now, I had one function here that I was calling every time after waiting for 10 seconds. So this was a job that was supposed to be invoked after every 10 seconds. Otherwise, you can even provide different arguments, like you can make use of cron tab here. I guess Cellry documentation page will talk about it as well. Yeah, so we can make use of cron tab here as well, where you can specify more specific arguments, like this is a job that should be triggered at the start of the every week at 7 hours 30 minutes. It will probably show you. Yeah, so these are the configurations that you can basically understand from. So this is the day of month, etc., etc. There are so many arguments that you can provide to the cron tab, and you can read about this cron tab in detail here. This is going to tell you about all the arguments that it can provide. It has day, it has week, it has, I guess, day of week, month of the year, I guess, something. So we can see day of week, hour is there, minute is there, month of year is there. For example, if you need to, trigger a Cellry job at the start of the month, so in that case, you are going to say day of month is going to be 1, and you can specify whatever time it is. Say you want to trigger that job in the evening at 5 p.m. You will specify the hours to be, what I say, I guess it will be 70. Right, so that is what you need to specify. Okay, so there is one more thing. Right now, I was, doing it after every 10 seconds, so it, did not impact much on that part. But I guess after a specific version of Cellry, the by default configuration of the Cellry comes with a UTC. So that means whatever time that you are going to specify, say 5:30 or 6:30, then it is going to be based on the UTC timestamp. if you want that to work based on the timestamp that we currently use, that is the IST. So for that case, you will have to explicitly say that you will have to change the time zone. So the time zone in your case, it should be Asia/Calcutta. And there is one more flag that you need to disable, I guess, enable UTC, if I'm not wrong. Enable UTC. But yeah, this is the flag, if I can remember correctly. So you will have to, set this flag to false, and you will have to explicitly specify the time zone you want to use. The time zone in your case, it is going to be Asia/Calcutta, and enable UTC, you have to set it to false. Where you would be doing it, you can simply go to salary workers, and here itself you can, specify all these things. Enable UTC is going to be false, whereas the time zone is going to be Asia Calcutta. Calcutta. Whatever time you specify is going to be taken as the IST based time zone. So yeah, you will be able to work with the Indian time in that case. So that is what you need to do. You will have to add these two configurations in your salary setup so that it can even work in your time zone. I guess that's it. So I just wanted to show you how do you integrate this salary with your existing Flask application. How do you add the scheduled jobs? And I guess we have covered both of these things. So let me know if there are any questions. Any questions? Okay, so should I assume that there are no more questions? Yeah.
Sir, just a quick, is the deadline still the 9th?
Yes, it is.
Okay, so you got to implement all these salary stuff in the next 2-3 days. So people who haven't done it yet.
Yeah. Yes.
Then
It
there
was
is no like.
extended from 31st of March to April 9th.
Yeah.
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, I have one question regarding UX store. If we are mentioning some variables in state, can we call a mutation method inside some view component method?
Yes, you can make use of this .store.commit.
But .store.commit I have to means direct. If I do even I tried with getter function. I also mailed you the same, but it's coming as undefined. Can you please check that once?
When did you send the email?
Today morning.
Okay, this morning. Okay, I'll check it. I'll get back to you.
Thank you.
Please show us how you fix the error. Which error you are referring to? Sorry, I completely missed your message, Srinath.
In between, you restarted the salary because something was not working, and then it started working. So I wanted to know why you did that, and because in case when
I guess we dropped that thing. We dropped that approach. I was trying to make use of async result, but that was not working. I believe it is due to the version. I'll again have to check which version I have currently installed. I think it should be the latest version, but again, I'll have to check it.
Okay. So another thing is, say for example, if we download a file, if we are clicking and triggering that job, do we have to keep polling whether the file is ready after every 5 seconds or so, or it is like an asynchronous job? Once it is completed, it will automatically send the file to front end, or is it the other way? While it is ready, it will be there, and we have to keep polling, and then
if you need to send it to the front end, if you need to send it to the front end, there should be something that should get triggered from the front end in order to get that file. So you will have to let the front end know.
So I'm triggering that I have to download that file. I'm clicking that button. So my job is done. So when the file is ready, it has to download. That is my expectation, right? So
Yes, correct.
why do we have to keep checking whether it is ready? Because by nature, this asynchronous jobs, it will be running in the background, and when it is ready, it will send the data, right?
Yeah, but see, if you are correctly sending it to the backend, how do you think the front end is going to receive that file?
Um, After triggering it, why do we have to keep again checking it from the front end whether it is ready? Why not the back end send it to the front end once it is ready? I mean, how do we configure that in the Celery?
I'm still unable
Say
to
for
understand.
example, I'm going to one portal. I'm downloading one. Say I go to NSE website and I'm downloading that historical stock prices. If I click
Mhm.
download, it will be downloaded. But uh, they don't expect us from front end. There is nothing keep polling the back end whether it is ready or not. It is already running in the background that preparing that raw data file, and once it is ready, that will be sent to the front end, right? There should be only one trigger, and once it is
See,
triggered, there should not
you
be
can
an
even do that, but
additional.
in that case, you will have to let the user wait on the same screen. You will have to let the user wait on the same screen, and I guess that is going to be bad for the user experience, because the implementation that we have currently followed is we'll just dispatch the salary job and we are done. We are not doing anything with that particular job. But if you want that operation to be done immediately, or you don't want the polling to be happen to happen from the front end, in that
Oh,
case, the moment you trigger the salary job, you have to wait at that particular endpoint itself, that whether the trigger job has completed its execution. As soon
okay.
as it completes its execution, then you return the response from that particular endpoint. But in that case, you are not you are basically blocking that request, or you are blocking the user on the same page.
No, no, no. Not synchronously. I'm saying asynchronously. If I click download and I can browse the other screens or do some other transaction in the front end, meanwhile the file will get prepared in the back end, and when it is ready, it will download in the
No, man, means
background
you will
itself
have to do
without.
something from the front end.
Okay,
You will have to do something from the front end so that the file gets downloaded to the system.
okay.
So if you're sure that the file generation is not going to take too long, then yes, you can go with the approach that I was mentioning.
Huh.
The endpoint that you were basically hitting in order to start the generation of that particular file. You can even return that from there itself in order to do polling from the front end or increase your work. That is
Okay.
completely fine if you think that the file generation is not going to take too long.
Okay.
But that is generally not good for the user experience in case the job is taking too long.
Huh.
Does anyone has any other questions?
Sir, I have a question, but not regarding the salary. Like, can you, if possible, demonstrate like how to view the image? Because,
How
like,
to
for
view
me,
the image?
yeah, like what the problem is, like my source is not getting interpolated actually. Like, uh, if I send the image from the data onto the image source, it's not getting like the exact value is getting cleared, but the image is not coming. Like if I hard code it, I get it properly, but if I go by variable, it doesn't work even if the value is the same. So if you could just show me how that image is working.
Okay, I'll probably stop the recording at this point of time.
Yeah.
It's not something